Hi, my name is Meredith, and you're listening to UC3P.
Hi, my name is Maddie Collins, and in this season of Chicagoland, you'll be hearing from our Harris Community Action Fellows. Harris Community Action is a student organization at the Harris School of Public Policy. HCA serves to connect grad students from the Harris School of Public Policy to the larger Southside community through a unique fellowship program that utilizes student expertise to build the technical, operational, and strategic capacity of nonprofits on Chicago's South Side. Every academic year, HCA invites students from the Harris School of Public Policy to participate in the HCA Fellowship. Once selected, fellows are formed into teams based on their interests and skill sets. At the same time, local nonprofit organizations apply to participate in the program and, with the help of the HCA board, scope 10-week projects to benefit their organization and community. Fellow teams are then connected with partner organizations to begin executing their projects. This year, we had 55 fellows working on 17 different projects for 15 nonprofits in Chicago's South Side. Today, we're going to be chatting with one of our fellows teams about their experience working with Chicago NORML, which stands for National Organization for the Reforms of Marijuana Laws. So would you guys mind introducing yourselves real quick?
Hi, I'm Joe, first year MPP student.
Hi, I'm Natasha, pronoun she and her. I'm a first year MPP student from Indonesia. So the opportunity to work together with NORML is very exciting for me because in Indonesia, we are not allowed to smoke any cannabis or even own cannabis. So this has been a really great learning experience for me.
Hi, I'm Nick Schwartz, first year MPP here at Harris, graduating in 2022.
Hi everyone, my name is Burra Jap. I am from Jacksonville, Florida, and I am a first year MPP student.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for introducing yourselves. It's nice to get to know you a little bit more. I'm wondering if one of you could tell us just a little bit more about NORML and the work that they do in Chicago.
NORML focuses specifically on cannabis legalization and destigmatization efforts on a national scale. But when it comes to a local scale, Chicago NORML focuses on people of color communities, POC, disadvantaged, those that have been heavily impacted by anti-cannabis policy within the past few decades, and certain efforts such as that dispensaries have a better representation of the community that actually uses it, as well as certain other issues like the expungement effort, especially when it comes to quite a few people in prison at the moment is currently in prison because of cannabis. And with the recent legalization efforts, it's been just trying to navigate through the legal process. And Chicago NORML has done some contributions with that, with partnerships with other organizations like legal clinics.
That's awesome. Yeah, those expungement efforts are incredibly important right now. So I know each of you touched on this a little bit when you introduced yourselves, but I'm curious, our fellow teams get to rank which projects they're most interested in working on. So I wonder what stood out to you all about the work that's done by NORML.
Chicago NORML is very focused on helping the minority communities in Chicago. So when we were initially ranking all the projects, we thought all of the projects were really amazing and were really great in, helping the South Side of Chicago, which has disproportionately been under-resourced and underfunded in the past. When we looked at Chicago NORML and its website, we saw that they were very comprehensive in the activities that they were doing in the city. We love their vision and their mission and their goal. The specific work of building a strategic plan for the future was something that we wanted to be a part of. So that's what kind of led us to rank Chicago NORML very highly as a project that we wanted to be a part of.
Yeah, and for me, you see more and more states legalizing marijuana use, either recreationally or medicinally. And so for me, just from, I guess, more of a outside perspective, it was just like, oh, wow, this is fantastic. Everything's going to be great going forward. There's not going to be any issues whatsoever. So for me, what just really stood out when we started working with NORML was just how many policy issues there still are within the space, even though it is legal. So for me, it was just seeing all the work that went into it when it comes to advocacy, education, trying to destigmatize cannabis use, trying to get persons of color within the industry more, especially within Chicago. There's definitely still like an uphill battle when it comes to some of these issues.
I'm currently living in California, and considering how relatively advanced cannabis policy has been, and to actually compare it to Illinois, it really has been an eye-opener in terms of the work that still needs to be done, and just realizing that pro-cannabis policy is something that shouldn't be taken for granted.
So I'm wondering if one of you could tell us, what project did you complete for NORML?
So the main project was helping them create their strategic plan. So like updating the 2019 strategic plan that they had. So creating it for the next year or so. So that was that. We were very much in the information data gathering stage in the beginning. We were really asking a ton of questions, just trying to learn more. And from there, we then went on to kind of formulate the strategic plan around those 4 pillars, when it comes to advocacy, education, industry, and culture. So then creating this strategic plan scoped within these 4 pillars, we also were trying to highlight currently what they do to meet these strategic goals, and then also trying to kind of look at it from a future perspective lens on what can be done, what they plan on doing in the next few years, just kind of keep the near future, on the horizons for them.
So usually this fellowship lasts for 10 weeks, but this year it was only 9 weeks. So that's obviously a relatively short amount of time. I'm wondering if you guys could walk us through how you attacked this project,
So we began by holding a kickoff meeting together with the HCA team and the NORML team. So we set some kind of boundaries about the scope of project and what they expect from us, and also the timeline. I think setting up expectation and timeline is really important given the short amount of time that we have. And also we like to ensure that we have a very good communication along the way. So it's really helpful. But I think some of the challenges that we faced during this project is because of the pandemic. Everybody is so busy, and sometimes it's very hard to find the time. And also all the members in the Chicago NORML, the board members, actually have day job, which of course they prioritize over the 9 weeks. So yeah, that's I think one of the biggest challenge in this project.
Yeah, during our first meeting, I think what was really important that we did, our first meeting was with the director of Chicago NORML, ED, who became the person that we were most in touch with all throughout this. And during that first meeting, we took some time to get to know each other. So, she asked us what is our background with marijuana legalization? And she also told us how she got involved in this organization. And just getting a background of where we were all coming from and hearing her story and how she became involved was a great foundation for us to build on. It sounds like many of the people in the organization had a start by needing cannabis for medicinal purposes. And that's kind of one of the reason that prompted them to look into this topic and to advocate for the inequality and the inequity, especially in the minority communities that are in place.
A theme with these HCA projects, and I know it was certainly something me and my team experienced when I completed this fellowship, was the scope of the project kind of shifting or taking a different shape throughout the course of the fellowship. So I'm wondering if that was y'all's experience with this.
I think for the most part, we stayed pretty on the path of what our initial project was. As we spoke to them, as we have mentioned before, this is an organization that is doing a lot of work. So they have a lot of activities. And as we talked to the leadership, it became, they told us about different things that they were doing, different directions that they wanted to take the organization. But we were mindful of the time that we have. And we did, I think we did a pretty good job of staying on track with our initial project. And I would say for the most part, we didn't steer too far away from it.
Were there any big aha moments for any of you that you'd like to share throughout the course of this project?
So maybe I could start, because I mentioned earlier in Indonesia, it's illegal to own cannabis. when I moved to like United States, I've never smelled cannabis before. I don't even know like how it smells like. And then so apparently my like neighbor, they smoke cannabis all the time. Not all the time, but almost like maybe every now and then. But yeah, so I bought a plant to my house, like just for decoration. And initially, I thought like the smell of the plant is the cannabis smell, but I was like thinking like, why it's so smelly? Like when I bought it in like Trader Joe's, it didn't smell anything. Why at night it smells so bad? And then like one of my friends told me, this is the smell of cannabis. So my roommate actually told me like, this is the smell of cannabis. So yeah, that was a big aha moment. So that's when I realized, oh, maybe this is what like normally is actually advocating for, so people can use it for like medical purposes and enjoy it in their daily life.
Yeah, it's funny. I feel like once it became legal in Illinois, it became a much more common occurrence to walk down the street and just, smell someone walking by and be like, oh, they're having a nice day.
For me also, I think it has just been such an opening experience to learn that there's so much education around the cannabis industry and cannabis legalization. During our first meeting, another thing that ED mentioned to us is that in the city of Chicago, of all the dispensary owners here, none of them are people of color and none of them are women. So to think that, it's been a year-ish since the legalization, but to see such disparity, I think in mainstream media, we talk about legalization, and that's kind of how far the conversation goes. We don't really think about the aftermath of it. She also mentioned things like, okay, we have legalization, but people can't use it legally in public places. You have to, do it in your private home. People who live in public housing, how will they be able to use it legally? About people working, perhaps if they smoked weed during the weekend and if they go to work and if they are tested, if they have a drug testing, like how do we get through, those employee rights? So just all the, nuances of legalization and issues that we just never talked about. And it's because of the lack of education that's available. It just became so clear that there needs to be so much more education available for regular everyday people to learn about all these kind of things, because these are issues that are affecting people in our communities, especially people who are, discriminated against, people who are disproportionately affected.
Well said. It's interesting to me that in the year 2021, weed is still pretty stigmatized in some communities. I think you're absolutely right. It's going to be a matter of educating people and, kind of overcoming those stereotypes.
Echo everything that Vera mentioned, but also when it does come to the stigmatization, for me is really eye-opening just to see just how much that is baked within the system, particularly for like nonprofits and receiving donations, particularly from larger organizations. And there's still like a stigma around providing donations to marijuana advocacy groups and nonprofits. Even though it is legal in some states, it's still.
Yeah, absolutely. And no pun intended on your part when you say those things are baked into the organization.
Oh, of course.
We had to get at least one weed joke in there.
Right.
I mean, it's a requirement. Okay. The one weed joke's been made. It's fine. All right. So how would you like to see the work that you've done for NORML be applied to the organization in the future? And if they've discussed any of those future plans with you, I'd love it if you could share that with us.
So one of their biggest concern right now is actually about like financing, like sustainably financing their programs. So as we mentioned earlier, that all of the board members actually have a day job. So it's kind of hard for them to sometimes like balance between like advocating for NORML and like maintaining their daily job. So Edie mentioned to us that they really wanted to hire a full-time worker for the NORML, but it's been really tough, especially with the pandemic. So they're really looking forward to like how to create a sustainable financial plan, maybe in the...
I think NORML definitely has a lot of plans in terms of education and the community of cannabis owners in Chicago. I think they do have a lot of plans for that community to collaborate and to come up with,